Slow combat in GURPS. That is the complaint of some people when they find out that there's an active defense phase to every attack, and that every action takes a second. People, I think, automatically think and assume that GURPS combat must drag. And on the surface, you'd be correct, because that should theoretically kind of double the combat time if there's twice as many rolls. There's an attack roll and a defense roll. But there are some things that compensate for that and make the combat shorter. For instance, nobody has hit points above 20 usually in GURPS. Maybe an epic ancient dragon might be upwards of 30 to 50, but certainly never, near 100 or anything like that. You can certainly, I suppose, play some high-level supers games, but we're talking fantasy here. And the other thing that speeds up combat in my view is the deadliness of it. Everybody has lower hit points. Everybody will have 10 hit points on average. The average human is 10 hit points. You can certainly grow that, up that with character points, experience gained, but humanly possible limits are upwards of 15, 18. But the damage is lethal. You're often rolling 1d6 or 2d6 for damage, depending on your strength and your weapon using. But any damage that's penetrating armor is then getting doubled, tripled sometimes if you get a shot to the vitals scored. So you roll a 7 with your 2d6, and you get around armor. That happens all the time. That's kind of the point. Combat is to avoid armor, try and getting around armor or getting through slits in armor. The combat can move at quite a pace depending on the combat. I find also that the combat, even if it was slower, I would still prefer GURPS for my tastes, because each action is so action-filled, if that makes sense. Every round I'm deciding whether to parry, block, dodge, how I want to attack. You've got all the maneuver options, step and attack, move and attack, all-out defense, deceptive attack options, things like that. So it makes your turn more fun in my experiences. I do get tired of, I roll to hit AC on some of the D20 systems. So we'll just run through an example here. I'm already 3 minutes into the video from me just blabbing on, and let's play a example combat out with 4 characters and 1 monster, and we'll just see how it feels, and everybody can gauge for themselves. Decide for yourself if you think this is too slow for you. It may be. Now, what we're up against here today, we've got 1 Basilisk. This would be a large-sized creature. It's a +1 size modifier in GURPS terms. That would make it between 9 and 12 feet, I think, in size. Let me just take a look here at my size. I've got my range ruler I'm going to be using today. 3 yards. That'd be up to 9 feet in length. So it's somewhere between 4 and 9 feet. 5 and 9 feet, I guess, or so long. This is a pretty big lad. This is a big specimen for a Basilisk. His attack will be only 11, and he has, of course, the Petrification Gaze. Our party today is, we've got a bring that up closer, sword and shield fighter. We have a spearman fighter, no shield, just a spear, 2-handed spear, long spear. We have a rogue with a short bow. That's a hood he's wearing there, and he's got a little bow in his hand. That's great artwork. Sorry for the painful artwork. And here is our pointy-hatted wizard. All right, so here's how the scenario starts out, how it could look, and that's the other thing. GURPS scenarios, depending on the GM, and of course, depending on the rules being used, many are optional. This can look drastically different from table to table, but here's how I would kind of roll as default. Now we're going to assume that all characters, since I'm running all 4, I'm going to try to move along pretty quickly. This will simulate a party, a playing group who are all fairly versed in GURPS. They know what their combat maneuver is going to be beforehand, and there's not a lot of side talk and hemming and hawing over what their next action will be. All right, so here we go. We attack from the east on the Basilisk lair. It's at night. He's been kind enough to leave the lights on for us. It looks like we've got some torches burning. Maybe this is the lair of an evil wizard, and he's got his gatekeeper monster just guarding the entrance to the wizard tower. We're gonna get in here. We're gonna kill this Basilisk. Now, right away, I'm thinking we get a little bit interesting tactics-wise. Our wizard is gonna cast, we'll say he's got 2 spells. Walk on Water, which is handy, we'll make some use of that, and he's got Fireball, okay? Everybody's got a skill of, we'll just say 12. 12 for everything. 12 for their weapon skills, 12 for their defense, for the shield, for instance, 12 for all the spells, 12 for the stealth, say, any skills. So the wizard would sit there and attempt to cast Walk on Water. We're not in combat, so he'll just keep trying. Now, there's a great roll. He casts Walk on Water on the rope. So he will come to the edge, attempting to stealth and climb down. He'll give a stealth roll. He needs a 12. He rolls a 13. He makes some noise. Okay, he fails. The Basilisk rolls a perception. He's not overly perceptive. We'll say he's got 11s for everything. That'll match his attack. Needs an 11. He rolls an 11. This thing knows something's up immediately. He's failed his stealth roll. Some thief, rogue that is. Okay. On the Basilisk's turn, it will move. Let's use. We're going gridless today. This is tiling. This is not actually accurate gridding. So we're going to use the handy GURPS, the free GURPS range ruler, which I have spoken of highly in the past. The Basilisk has a move of 5, so he will move 5 yards forward, and he's coming to investigate. That gives these guys all a turn. Everybody will move. The fighter, he shuffles up forward. He can only move, he'd only be 5, because he is wearing some chainmail. Comes up. These guys should all be able to keep up with him. He'd be the slowest one, so they will stick with him, and the thief will attempt to climb down that sheer-looking rock. He's got a 12. He needs a 12 under. He rolls a 10. We'll say he is working on getting down. It will take him another round to get down. We're working in 1-second rounds here. Let us remember. Now, next turn. We'll say that the Basilisk goes. We'll say that the unencumbered folk here go first, minus the wizard, and then the Basilisk, and then the fighter, him being laden down with a medium shield, a sword, and some chain mail. So this guy will go first. He'll finish his descent down to there, and that's all he can do. And these guys forfeit their chance to move up, opting to instead stay behind the fighter, who will go after the Basilisk. The Basilisk has to come out the doorway here. He comes out to there, that's 2. And then he's going to start coming around 3 more, right to there. Now he's kind of behind this pillar. These guys now start to see this thing emerging, and now it's going to get interesting because they have to avert their eyes. It's a freaking Basilisk. We don't want to fight this thing by looking at it. Therefore, we're taking a -4 penalty at least. If you know where your enemy is within 1 yard, you can fight it with a -4. Same for defense, okay? If you're in total darkness or eyes totally shut, you're at -10 to strike. All right, so he's moved. These guys will now move up 5. I'll use this, okay? He's up to here. He is just running. Well, they're sprinting, actually. Trying to avert their gaze so he can remove another 2. So he'll go down up there. Okay. Everybody's staying in formation here. At this point, I think the wizard's shortly going to start thinking about starting to cast his fireball spell. So now things are getting tighter here. Let's zoom in a bit here on the action. Okay. Now, where are we? The thief will go first. He can move. He's going to run across the water, not looking up at this thing. So they're doing their thing. They're not looking. They can do that without a roll. I'm not going to make anybody roll IQ or anything like that to, or willpower to avert their eyes. They know what they're doing. These are adventurers, probably level 1 or level 2 adventurers, but the Basilisk then goes next and is going to just move up aggressively on these useless adventurers, and he's going to try and stone them and eat them. Here comes the good guys now. 5 moves up. The archer, oh yeah, okay. These guys will stay on his tail. We'll keep this moving. I think that would be their best. He's going to want a spear attack, and the wizard might peel off to the side and get a fireball ready. Next turn, the thief moves his 6. I think he only moved 5 last time, but that's fine. We'll say he was kind of jumping down a bit. He's running across the water, and he is attempting to stealth now that he's coming. He's coming out of visual range here. Let's get my dice roller up here. He needs a 12, and he gets an 11. He is effectively out of sight of this creature, and it would be facing like this, and then his field of view would be something like 45 in front of him, looking directly at these guys. Now, he moves there. Basilisk moves up and engages. Yeah, he can get right there. And will, so that will be a move and attack. So it gets a -4 or a 9 on its attack, whatever's worse. Its attack is 11. Wait, it needs a 7. It needs a 7 and goes chomping right for the fighter. The fighter in the front doesn't really see it coming because he's averting his eyes, but it misses. It clanks off his kind of chain and doesn't really get a hold of him. That's probably a close enough roll. It kind of connects, but doesn't do any damage. Doesn't even bite into the armor. Now, everybody's turn here. The wizard will peel off to the side. Actually, he can only take a step because I want him to start casting a spell. He takes a step and he starts summoning a fireball into his hands. He's got a skill of 12, no problem. He starts casting fireball successfully. He will get 1d6 for that fireball. I will give him a die so I can help me remember, since I'm running so many characters at once here. He's gonna pump more energy, mana, into that spell by sustaining the casting action for several rounds, adding d6. Each round he kind of saves up, pumps energy into it. Next up is our spearman and fighter. Fighter just hauls off and takes, what is he gonna do? I think he's gonna just normal attack. Nothing special, he's got a -4, so he needs an 8 or less. No, he whiffs. Our spearman behind him. He'll back up. No, he can stay there. He can stay behind. He's got the reach of the spear. He will attempt to spear that thing with a -4 as well. He needs an 8. That is a hit. Okay, so they're working with that -4 because they're averting their eyes, but they have an idea where this thing is within 1 yard. It's also big, so they do get a +1 to strike. He hits the Basilisk. It attempts to dodge. It is dodging with an 8. Wow, almost. That's a 10. It fails and gets skewered. Let's roll some damage. 2. With his strength of 12, we'll say, I believe that's one die. That's 1 die plus -1 for thrust, but he's got the spear, so it's +3, so 1 die plus 2. So we just did 4 thrusting damage into that thing. It has a DR of 3. Let me get my notes here and I'll just track his damage. DR of 3, so it took 1 point. Since it's impaling damage, that's doubled to 2. It's taken 2 points of damage. The Basilisk felt that. He will suffer -2 shock penalty from the damage on his next attack. Now, next turn, we've got our rogue thief lad still moving in. So he runs up. This is actually pretty nice looking. He runs up the nice rock and leaps onto the dock. He can go 6 up to there. And he made his, actually he's gonna go around the corner. I'm gonna give him another stealth roll once he completely goes out of sight. No, he already made it, not required. Moving along, the Basilisk again tries to chomp at the, actually he's gonna look, yeah, he's gonna chomp on the fighter. He's going for the fighter again, and he hits this time. The fighter attempts to block, but he's got a -4 because he is averting his eyes. So he's got a block of 12, 6, 9, plus 2 is 10, -4. He needs a 6 or less. Ouch, he fails bad, and the fighter takes 1 die, well, where am I looking here? 1d6 plus 1. Okay, and that's piercing plus, so that's 5 damage. His combat, his chainmail shirt takes 4 of it, so 2 gets through on the fighter. Fighter takes 2 damage, and that is times 1.5, so he actually takes 3 damage. Now that hurt. He felt that. Now it's going to be the party's turn. We'll make the wizard. He will gather, sink more mana into the fireball. It's now at 2 dice. The spearman and the fighter will attack. Now I'm thinking the fighter is going to go, he'll forfeit his attack to go all-out defense, anticipating another onslaught from the Basilisk. He's just going to try to provide a shield wall for the spearman behind him. Spearman goes all-out attack, okay, +4 damage. That's a determined attack. He forfeits his defense for a +4 to attack. That will counteract his blind shot, his blind stab. He's probably just focusing on looking at the back of his buddy so he doesn't stab him, because that should be fine. As long as you don't meet the gaze of this thing, you are safe. But I am going to impose a will roll every couple rounds to just make sure that everybody uses their willpower to to avert their eyes. They don't succumb to looking at it. Here comes the stab. He's not going to try and pull off anything special, I think. He can't go for vitals or eyes or anything like that. He can't see them. So he's got a +1, a net +1 because of the size modifier of the thing. So he needs a 12. Oh, he needs a 13, and he rolls a 4. That was almost a critical success. He had to beat it by 10. Wow, very nice stab. The thing will try to dodge, has a dodge of 8. And it dodges. Oh, that would have been our big break. The thing definitely leaps to the side, out of the way of the long spear. Coming up next, we've got the wizard. Nope, he's already done. Next round. This is our 3rd round, I believe. The rogue is going to run up. Oh, he gets onto the ladder, so he could easily run up there, but since he's climbing, we'll say he spends the rest of his turn on the ladder. That would be the Basilisk's go. This thing is going to roar and inflict some surprise on people, but I'm going to make them all roll a willpower save at this point. I'll say they all have it, a 12. Rogue, not so much. These people in front of him. Fighter. Oh my goodness, he fails. Spearman makes it. And the wizard. Oh, makes it barely. Okay. The fighter. Now, this is This is me just being kind of a brutal GM. You might want to play the whole combat without. If everybody says they're averting their eyes, you let them avert their eyes. But here we go. The fighter looks up for a split second and must make a health roll at -2. He needed a 10. He rolls an 11 and is instantly petrified. Oh boy, that's bad. That's bad for us. There goes the shield wall. The fighter is down. The monster, he's got the petrification ability as always on, so it's a free action to look at somebody, so he still gets his attack. It steps up and attacks past the stoned body of the fighter and attacks the spearman. He gets hit and he attempts to dodge with a -4, and he fails and he gets bit for 2 damage into his chain shirt. No problem. The wizard unleashes his fireball. Nobody's actually hurt this. Oh yes, we've done 2 damage to it. The wizard casts fireball and is going to step backwards in fright. And here goes the casting. He only needs a 12 to hit. That's going to do it. The Basilisk does get a dodge attempt since it's a missile attack. He fails and takes the 2 dice of fire damage. Oh man, yes, that's nice. 7 damage. So it takes has a DR of 3, subtracting 3 off the 7 damage. So he takes another 4. So he's up to 6. 6 damage taken. All right. They went out of they went after the Basilisk. Next round, the rogue sprints in. Can he run? No, he has to go up here. He has to go in behind here. The rogue sprints in. The Basilisk's turn. It will attempt to chomp the spearman. That is a hit. The spearman will attempt to dodge and retreat, giving him a +2 to dodge. That gives him a 10. Oh, and he fails and gets bit for another 6 damage. Okay. It steps up and follows him and bites. He takes 6 damage. His chainmail takes 4 of that, and then he takes 2 damage +1 because it's a large piercing. So he takes 3. Spearman takes 3 damage. It is the it's the wizard's turn. It's not looking great for our heroes here. The wizard starts casting fireball again. He needs a 12. He does so. He will back up another yard. He will back up into the oaf if he gets in. He gets cornered though. Okay. He successfully starts casting and puts 1 die into it. The spearman, he's hurt. He is hurt and he's suffering a -3. He's going to step back and spear this sucker with the -3 because of the size of the thing. 12. He rolls a 10. He has a -3 from 12. He needed a 9. He missed. Not a good day for our heroes. Here comes our rogue friend in behind. Okay, now he's coming up, and since he's running, I'm going to force another stealth check. He needs a 12 or less. Oh my goodness, and he fails. Not what we want to see today. The thing is aware of him. He fails. Well, let's do a contest. The Basilisk succeeds in its perception, and he failed, so it knows he's coming. Will it care? Let's roll its IQ. If it rolls a 10 or under, it's going to continue going for the spearman. Yeah, it rolls a 9, so it's going to just keep its query. It's got a good taste for this guy now. It's going for the spearman. Ignores the rogue coming up from behind. It is the Basilisk's turn. It steps forward, and animalistic intelligence, it just keeps biting. Not doing anything special. A crit failure. That is a crit failure. All right, then. Let's just roll on the unarmed critical failure table just for kicks and giggles. You fall down, make a dexterity roll to stay on your feet. The thing fails its dexterity roll. Interesting turn of events. It lunges at him and manages to fall prone. The thing falls off its 6 legs somehow. That's a clumsy basilisk. It maybe tripped over the statue body of the fighter. The mage sinks another mana, a mana die into the fireball. He's going to run out of mana probably at this rate quickly. And next up we have the spearman. He will take the chance to all out attack that sucker since he's on his feet and it's a little bit helpless. Stepping back, and was that a... Oh yeah, that was about, these bases are almost an inch, so he stepped back the base width, and here comes the all out attack. Now he has a +1. And he can't go for vitals, so here we go. We need a 13 or less. Stab successfully. The thing will attempt to dodge while on the ground. It has a minus. That failed anyways. And here comes the D6 +3. Ooh, that's a nice 7 damage. 4 gets through the DR of the sucker and then is doubled to 8 damage. That's gonna hurt. 8 damage in one shot. That is a major wound on the basilisk. It must make a health roll or become stunned from the major wound. It does so. No ill effects other than the shock penalty from that. Also, the attack from this guy did have an additional minus because of his damage he took last turn, but he still made his attack. Wow, okay, that was a big turn of events. The wizard goes and he will sidestep in, and the thing has 1 hit point left, so he will at this point cast fireball. Yeah, that's the range of the fireball. We should actually calculate this out. He does have a -1. He's not far, but -1 easily makes it still. It's a +1 size modifier, so that cancels out anyways. Yeah, that would have been probably the same the previous time. The ranged fireball lights up the hind end of this thing. He doesn't have to worry about the -4 to attack because he is on the back end of it and it's not going to make eye contact. That's a hit. He'll roll 2d6. Let's see. Oh my goodness, and he does ineffectual damage. 3 damage, and the creature has damage resistance of 3. Sad day for the wizard. Luckily, it's the top of the round again, and here comes our rogue who's been playing the long game. He can easily move up. He doesn't want to move and attack. He will all out attack. That gives him half his movement. That will give him 3. All he needs is 3. That works out perfectly. All out attack. Moves up on the thing. He goes with a determined strike. That would give him +4 to hit. He goes for the vitals on the thing. That's a -3 to hit. So he has +1 and a size modifier +1. So he needs a 14 or less to jab a large knife into the vitals of this thing. A 14 or less, and I rolled a 12. He jabs the knife deep into the thing. It is on the ground. It knows he is coming. It will attempt to dodge. It will not dodge with that roll of 10. Here comes the knife attack. 2. Wow. 2. Wow. Wow. That's... okay, his thrust. Unless he has a high... No, he doesn't have a... He'd have a normal, fairly normal 10 or 11 strength. So -1, down to 1 damage. That goes into the hide of the thing and does not hurt him. This is bad. The thing spends its turn getting up. It will get up, and that will take the second. Everybody else gets to go. It's still facing the other way. It will look at him, and he will attempt to avert his eyes. Thinking he's in the back, he's got to make a, let's say it's a dexterity. He is a dexterous rogue after all. He sees it rearing its head towards him. He just needs to beat his dex of 12. Yeah, no problem. And the wizard as well. Yeah, he's kind of off in the side there. He sees it coming. He's fine too with a roll of 11. Okay. This guy just keeps averting his eyes. And will will just attack, normal attack, okay? So that will hit with the -4 penalty. The thing will attempt to dodge. It dodges. It dodged. Wizard will cast Fireball. Needs a 12 or less. Starts summoning the Fireball. There's one. The Rogue, next round, he will attempt to stab. He will run around attack. Trying to avert his eyes a bit. He's going to move. Yep. He's going to take a step to the side, I guess, and attack. Still trying to... he's going to go for it. He's going to go for the vitals. So he gets... he needs a 14 or less, which he does easily, and the thing will try to dodge. He's going to have to make a willpower check to avoid the gaze. He fails the dodge. Here comes a stab again. 4. That's a little better. Okay, so we've got 3 damage. Oh my goodness gracious. No, he can't get through the hide of this thing. It's just too tough. Oh my goodness. At this point, I think he's going to have to back away and start using his bow. His knife is just a little too weak to get through that hide. He needs a 12 strength, which he does not have. Next up is the Basilisk. It will turn and attack the... Oh boy. It wheels on him. Goes for the Rogue. That is a miss, however. That's nice. And the Mage is going to go all out this time. Going to use the rest of his mana and wait another round to get 3d6. He's got to nail this sucker. It's got 1 hit point, measly hit point left. Okay, the Spearman steps up and just skewers this thing with his spear. He's going to take a moment. Okay, we'll say he's still got to avert his eyes. He doesn't really know what's going on. And that is a 11. That will hit. Nope. We've got -3 from 12. He misses. And the next round comes. The Rogue must make a willpower save to avert his gaze. He does so in time. He is now fighting blindfolded. He will turn and run. He's gonna run. He's mostly facing this direction, so he won't spend a movement point turning. He will run 6 this way, and he's gonna pull out his bow. I will allow him to pull out his bow while he moves, since this is just a short bow. Good enough. These guys need to be thrown a bone. The Basilisk turns, steps, and attacks poor Spearman. 13, that is a miss. Okay, we're getting some luck here. Wizard finishes maxing out the Fireball to 3d6 for his skill ability, and the Spearman steps back and lunges. He rolls an 11 and misses. Next round, Rogue turns and steps back, loading an arrow for next turn. Basilisk steps and attacks, munching that Spearman. That is a hit. Spearman has a -4 to his dodge. He gets bit and takes 3 damage into his chainmail. Okay, these guys are just trading blows at the moment. Getting lucky. And this has been a 30-minute combat already now. This thing's been hanging on for many rounds more than I thought it would. Being at 1 hit point, its movement is at 1/3. That was its strike. Next, we've got the Spearman. He will step back and attempt to spear. That's a fail. Here comes the Wizard with the 3d6 Fireball. He will step up 1 and will measure for the range. It does have a minus to the back end of the thing. What is that? Yeah, we'll say that's a -2. He's going to make an IQ check to bring up his gaze to see this thing and not look into the eyes. Oh wow, he aces that roll. So he sheds the -4 for not looking at the thing. For his shot, he has 12, -2 for range. He's a 10. Don't you miss. he rolls a critical failure on the spell casting. Well, critical miss on any ranged missile weapon. It's gonna hit 50% chance of hitting one of our buddies here. All right, 10 or under, it hits one of our friendly fire. Oh, okay. It sails away. If that was a critical failure on the casting of it, that would have probably just damaged the mage. But that was the actual throwing of the fireball that failed. My goodness, pathetic. We just need to do one more damage. Arrow is knocked, draws the arrow back this turn, and steps away again. The Basilisk steps up and continues gnawing away on our Spearman. That's a hit. Spearman needs a 4 to dodge, takes another bite for no damage into his chain mail. Next up, we've got the Spearman, steps back, stabs. That's good enough for a hit. The Basilisk attempts to dodge and fails miserably. Come on, get that damage. Oh my goodness, 2. What was with these rolls? So that's 4 damage. So that's 2 damage. That's enough. After DR, we cause 2 damage on the thing. The thing goes to 0. And this is where I typically have my monsters mostly just die, keel over, unconscious at least. By rules as written, it would get a health roll to stay conscious and act normally even. And that would be enough by rules written. But when I'm playing the fantasy, it's nice to keep it simple and rolling. And there we have it. That thing is finally put down after 36 minutes. Now, was that too slow for you non-GURPS preferred players out there? Is that too slow? Was there enough action to keep your interest? Maybe that can mitigate the slowness of that. I was running 5 characters here all at once, so it seemed pretty action-filled, but I'm certainly biased. GURPS being my favorite game, this is the combat I enjoy. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. Too slow? Too boring? Give GURPS a try if you ever have a chance. It's a lot of fun. Roll on.